This is Bluey. You might have seen it on Disney Plus. If you have kids, they're loving this show. Millions of people are watching this show. And from what I've seen, this is relatively wholesome, not sinister. But here's what's interesting. It looks like adults are starting to like Bluey more than kids, who are the target audience for Bluey, because they like that it addresses traumatic subjects for children. This says, Bluey's identity as a show is that it isn't afraid to go there and tackle challenging subjects like divorce, loneliness, and death, because too many shows are afraid to treat kids like thinking and feeling viewers. The series has utilized that element to the fullest extent, and the creators are more than well aware. This says that Bluey essentially wouldn't be as successful or popular if they didn't rely on themes of trauma. And I guess that's also taking the role of the parent, is that this TV show is going to have hard conversations with my kids so that I don't have to. Yeah. They have episodes that have a metaphor for divorce disguised as rugby teams. They have discussions about premature birth in another episode, and another episode talks about the aftermath of infant loss. So they're saying this is the show maturing with its audience. Don't know if that's true, but basically they're saying that parents like this show because it does their job for them, and they get to feel like they're also children when they watch it. New report from Huffington Post says, Bluey is my favorite comfort show, Bluey is the comfort show I didn't know I needed. And it's written by Marilyn LaJanice. She is a childless 29-year-old woman who watches Bluey. And I would understand, like, if you're a parent and you play this show for your kids and you watch along and you think, hey, it's not so bad. Mm-hmm. But she actually watches this show because she says it helps her connect with her inner child and heal wounds of her inner child. And they also got some thoughts and insights from a psychologist named Dr. Tamara Souls, who shows just what kind of impact this comfort show has on viewers, apart from making them better parents. Watching adult characters in children's shows allows them to have a corrective experience. They may not have had adults who are as emotionally attuned as many of the adults in children's shows. Exploring themes such as a wide range of emotions, children's shows often validate your emotional experiences and provide a way for so many of us as adults to be seen and to reflect our own emotional responses. Particularly for adults who are strongly emotionally impacted by the myriad of atrocities around the world, watching a children's show with a clear morale and ethically guided adults can be a healing respite for many. Watching high-quality children's programming is like entering a world that feels calm and simple. So I guess they're basically age regressing to watch the shows that their kids are supposed to watch.
I get the idea. Look, I have no problem with the concept of comfort shows. I think everybody has those shows that they put on. Usually it's not a comfort show because of the age demographic. Usually it's a comfort show because you've watched the whole thing before, and rewatching it is kind of healing because you know it's going to happen. And in a world where things are unpredictable, the idea that you can watch something, know what's going to happen is actually quite helpful. I have a lot of shows that are like that I maintain that one of my favorite things is restarting a show that I've seen multiple times that has a lot of seasons, because it feels like you're going back on an adventure with these characters that you've come to know and love. Now, for me, none of those shows are kids shows. So I get what she's saying.
They're changing the definition of what a comfort show is.
Yes, I get what she's saying. But, at the same time, this is very, very common, aren't we? We talk all the time about how... I just saw the story today about the Minecraft guy who's getting Me Too'd for saying sexual stuff to a girl who's 3 months old, who's 18, and the girl was 18, and she was 3 months older than him. And we are becoming permanently children.
It's grooming.
They were calling it grooming for saying something like that. My point is that people are age regressing and trying to can claim childhood well into their 20s, right?
Or 30s or 40s or longer than that.
Yeah. So
this also says they have a character named Jack, an excitable and easily distracted Jack Russell Terrier who is used to represent individuals with ADHD or other neuroatypical conditions.
I feel so seen.
Another one, it's heavily implied that a character named Aunt Brandy, is coping with infertility in another episode. And their father, Bandit, is struggling with depression. Is this really necessary?
That's so
for a kids show?
Intense.
It really is. I don't know if the kids are picking up on it or this is specifically targeting the adult audience.
Right, do they say it or is it insinuated?
I've never watched Bluey. I'm not one of these weirdos who watches Bluey as an adult comfort show, so I don't know the details, but that's what they say, is that it's intentional and the creators are well aware that this is what they're doing.
I mean, to them, that's just a demographic shift for the show, right? Like, we used to make it for kids, but the kids will age out. Now, kids shows usually don't have to worry about that as much, right? It's very different for a show where the audience ages with them. But for kids shows, they can just kind of hope that the next generation gets to watching. Barney affected many. He scared many kids from many generations.
Here's a quote from a screenwriter that was interviewed by Huffington Post. She says that she started watching Bluey during a time in her life when she was doing a lot of inner child work. Quote, my first impression was this deep, almost grief that settled in my stomach as I contemplated just how different my life would have been had I grown up with this show. She describes the show as a form of gentle parenting where the parents teach their children how to have fun, how to self-regulate and communicate their emotions. Quote, here I was in my 20s learning to do things that my parents had never even bothered to teach me or acknowledge by 4 Australian cartoon dogs.
Okay, what were the dogs teaching her?
How to have fun and how to self-regulate and communicate your emotions. I feel like by the time you're 20 or 30, you should know these things. But she's going to blame her parents, not herself.
Right.
And also, she said she's doing inner child work, which sounds like she's doing psychoanalytic therapy.
Sounds very medicalized.
It sounds like you're making a problem that doesn't exist. It sounds like you're problematizing normal emotional experiences. And I recently saw Matt Walsh getting dragged on Twitter for saying this, that a lot of people think that they have depression or some other mental illness, when in reality that's just, suffering and turmoil. It's a normal aspect of life, and you ebb and flow. You go through highs and lows in life, and those are situations that you respond to emotionally. It doesn't need to be a problem that you bring to a psychologist. You don't need to be medicated for it. These are normal things, and normalizing those experiences wouldn't look like enriching the pharma industry. Normalizing those things would be talking about that. These are normal experiences. You don't need to analyze yourself to death and start taking SSRIs for it.
It's the Bluey to Big Pharma pipeline.
Seriously, it's happening in real time.
Yeah. I mean, I will watch Powerpuff Girls sometimes. I do babysit a 3-year-old girl from time to time, so I will watch it with her. But nobody has a perfect childhood. It's literally how you choose to look back on it, right? Just like your present day life. Nobody's life is perfect all the time. It's all about how you choose to view it. And if you're told you have anxiety constantly, I always hear this term of releasing trauma. Release trauma. You can't release trauma. I'm sorry.
Remember the video?
We've over psychoanalyzed everything.
Remember the video about the lady saying that twerking releases trauma through the hips?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Just bizarre. Everything is trauma now. Sometimes it's not trauma, or sometimes it is trauma, and by experiencing that, you just need to learn how to move past it. And
My childhood,
there are truly traumatic things that can happen to you.
Nothing bad has ever happened to me.
Giving too much focus to everything bad that has ever happened to you, or everything bad that you've ever done, is not a good thing for your quote unquote mental health.
I'm lucky. Like I said, nothing bad has ever happened to me. My life has been perfect from the moment I was born. So I can't really, I don't feel very represented.
You're like, I'm just built different. So
it's not easy, you know, having such a perfect existence.
In fact, it's traumatic that other people don't understand.
The whole reason I got addicted to drugs was so that I could put something traumatic in my life because I felt empty.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
That was what it was.
I feel like you're twisting my words so badly.
I was like, you know what? I need some trauma in my life.
No, there is definitely truly traumatic experiences. I'm just saying it's been overused so much. Do you feel like you've held the trauma in your body, Brett?
Do you need to twerk it out?
No, what it is I snorted the trauma. That's what I did.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, because I needed to find the fastest way to like the just the center of my brain.
They didn't have Bluey back then.
Yeah, without Bluey, I decided to go for stimulants.
$20 from Nate. I watch Bluey with my kids. They love it. The other themes are certainly there. It's done in a way that speaks to the adults separately. I don't have Twitter, but these people you're reading about seem like, quote, Disney adults. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're co-opting children's entertainment for their own and not letting kids enjoy it in the process.
So is the goal here to like you? Okay, so you go to Bluey, you process the childhood trauma. Then you go to Taylor Swift and you process the young adult trauma. And then you go to, I don't know, who's after that? Who's after you process the young adult
trauma?
Who do you process the adult trauma with?
CNN?
Santa?
No, I said CNN.
Oh, okay.
CNN.
Okay. Yeah, well, there is the meme like every Swifty's biggest trauma in life is breaking up with their high school boyfriend. Yeah. And thinking they're the only person who's ever gone through that.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.